This video will cover how to add the Performance Investigator extension to a Foglight SQL Server agent. The objective of this demo will cover how to add the SQL Performance Investigator extension to a previously created Foglight SQL Server agent. The process has some minimum requirements. Please review the prerequisites and requirements as a setup reference and also consult the Foglight documentation mentioned below. To add the SQL PI extension, log into the Foglight web console with your Foglight user and click on Databases to access the Databases dashboard. Checkbox the agent or agents for adding the extension to, as this process can assign a feature to multiple agents simultaneously. These selected agents should not have the SQL PI indicator listed. Keep in mind that selecting multiple agents will get assigned to the same PI repository. Click Settings and Administration. Find the SQL Performance Investigator and select it to enter the SQL PI Admin screen. The SQL Performance Investigator administration screen allows for enabling and disabling the SQL PI extension for the SQL Server agents. There are some requirements to adhere to that are listed in the sizing guide. If the unlicensed notice is showing, this means there is a need to obtain at least a trial key for the SQL PI extension add-on. The licensing information and the list of key features are also included and accessible from the screen. First, the repository needs assigning for each agent. The repository host can facilitate up to 100 agents based on the deployment needs and/or the supported hardware sizing. Assigning offers flexibility to add or section agents to the same or different PI host. Click No SQL PI repository attached. A pop-up will display the key features of the SQL Performance Investigator extension, and it will highlight the important system requirements that, for virtual machines, the CPU and memory must be reserved, Linux is the recommended platform for the PI repository, and the SQL PI repository folder, which is mostly often named InfoBright, must be excluded from real-time antivirus scanning. Click Accept to continue installing the SQL PI extension. The SQL PI screen displays the agent managers reporting into the Foglight management server. There are candidates for hosting PI repositories to assign to agents. These hosts have already been identified as fulfilling some minimal requirements, such as supporting OS Windows 64-bit. Note the other requirements and recommendations. The pick list arranges the agent managers by name, OS, and SPI repository existing status, which is denoted by a green checkmark. If selected, the hosted PI repositories that exist will just link the agent to a repository for the data store. Otherwise, selecting the PI repository doesn't exist on a host that shows no checkmark, the process will ultimately create the PI repository database and then link the agent to it created to a PI repository. Currently, this would be a unified Postgres database. Select the agent manager. I'll choose one that doesn't have a PI repository to demonstrate the process that takes place for that selection. Click Apply, and the procedure will verify the system resources. If the resources don't check out, another indication will pop up with some options. When a new SQL PI repository is installed on the Agent Manager server, a pop-up will appear to set and confirm the settings for the new installation. You can use this dialog box to set the connection port, change the installation directory, or to use a different password for the SQL PI PostgreSQL repository database. In this example, we will use the defaults and click OK. In the background at this point, the new SQL PI repository database agents are being created and added to the Agent Manager. To enable SQL PI, checkbox the agent and click Enable. An insufficient resources message may appear if the Foglight Agent Manager Java virtual machine does not have enough memory allocated. Click the words insufficient resources. We recommend selecting the top radio button to allow the Agent Manager to automatically attempt to increase the Agent Manager allocation after the database agent is created. Then click OK. Once the verification is done, the SQL PI indicator is active for the agent. Clicking the Settings button will provide the options to change the SQL PI sampling frequency in milliseconds, adjust the number of collected SQL statements per sample, as well as to enable the data collection of the background SQL Server data collections and change tracking. SQL PI is now active on the selected agents while listing the PI repository hosts. The PI feature is also reflected on the database's dashboard. Under the agent column, it should show the SQL PI icon. Since the agents now contain the SQL PI add-on, they will be referenced in the database's SQL PI dashboard. To learn more about Foglight for databases, visit support.quest.com. For quick support questions, follow us on Twitter @QuestExperts.